Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we have back in the studio a very special guest, William Pearson. Um, we did an interview just less than a week ago, and I felt, and it very seldom happens this way, where I feel like we were going so into this conversation. We went a little bit longer than I normally do, and I didn't even come close. So I'm like, we got to come back. We got to finish this. And fortunately, your schedule allowed for us to jump in before too much time had passed. So, William, welcome back. I'm so glad you're able to join us again. Without going over every little thing, the first episode really goes into a lot. I'd like maybe you could do just a quick bullet point recap of how, you came from your career to your injury to your discovery to your court case to your nonprofit, and then we'll jump back into some of the stuff that we really, I think, didn't cover it, give it enough credit.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me back. I really appreciate it. It's really such a really complex topic because there's so many different people that it affects.
Right.
It really, yeah. And for me, what brought me here is I spent 9 years racing bobsleds for our U.S. Olympic team. And as I was leaving the sport, actually before I left the sport, we talked about some of my red flags were showing up. And then probably 10 years after I left the sport is when the symptoms really started to kick in and kick my butt. Around that 15 to 16 year mark is where, I didn't want to be here anymore. It was, like I said, I was on the ground praying for God to, come get me because now it's my time, because it's so brutal. And I'm watching all of these soldiers and these other athletes, one by one. We still watch. Well, we watch. It reminds me of
every day, still today.
Yeah. It reminds me like every time I found out another one of my teammates took their life, they do the same thing. We do a memorial. We say, "Oh, how can we fix this?" No, we don't even talk about fixing it. We just we do a memorial and say, "Oh, we missed him," and when we're waiting on the next death to show up. And that was a small community doing that in bobsledding, but now the whole world is doing it. We're watching these athletes and these our soldiers. They're taking their lives at a really alarming rate. It's one of my
alarming rate. Yeah.
Yeah, my speech is slurred. I had them days when my speech slurs a little bit.
I got the same problem from a different problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll stumble through this together.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's so many people dealing with it. And my biggest thing is, for me, I probably had way more concussions than any one person could possibly have because I did hundreds of bobsled rides.
Right.
And so my thing is this, if it woke me up, and it should be able to help pretty much most people from what I've been seeing. And so my thing is I've just been really pushing, just trying to get the treatment out to the masses for free. And
so with this treatment, you're talking about hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which is a powerful tool that maybe a lot of people don't know much about. Why don't you tell us a little bit about just even what it is, how it works, what it is?
Well, best way I can explain it. People always ask me, how is it shaped? And for me, the first time I saw one in person, it looked just like the bobsled. The reason why I was there in the first place. I really had a double take. I didn't want to get it. I was afraid.
Right.
Like,
I don't want to go in that thing.
Yeah. But it's shaped like, sometimes you see people, they do cookouts for a lot of people. And so they're going to make a big pot of chili. So they don't go get that top shelf ground beef with the 1% fat or, 10% fat. They go get that stuff that looks like a tube.
Right.
That's exactly what a hyperbaric chamber normally looks like.
Right.
They do come in different shapes, but mine is shaped like that too.
Cylinder, yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a zipper on the top.
Right.
There's two zippers. I climb down through the middle, and I go in there for 60 to 90 minutes at a time. And while I'm in there, it feels like you're in an airplane. You get in an airplane and you got to clear your ears a couple times.
Pop a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So once they pop a couple times, you keep yawning. Next thing you know, you'll be right at the perfect pressure. And the way it was explained to me is like it makes your body believe it's like 7 to 9 feet underwater. So your blood is more like a gas. And so it can get through all the blockages.
Nice.
Yeah. So for me, the first time I tried it, like I was cloudy for who knows how many years.
Right.
Because when my symptoms first kicked in, like I had those random cloudy days, they was never knew when they were going to show up.
Right. And you're not thinking anything about it. We have bad days sometimes, you just, I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but eventually they start coming more and more frequent. And then you're like, wait a minute, this is a part of life now.
Yeah.
Until it flip-flopped, I started having random days of clarity. And that's when I was like, what am I going to,
Yeah. Everything starts turning back opposite of what you're used to. And you're like, wait a minute, instead of having a random bad day, you're like, oh, wow, I'm having a random good day. What is my life at this point? Yeah.
Yeah, it really destroyed your quality of life is gone. You're like, you're fighting for me, I had to fight to find a reason to stay here. You get to that point, and then I realized, that's what a lot of the athletes were dealing with. I had no clue. I thought it was isolated. I thought it was just my brain was messed up. I started connecting those dots after the last suicide phone call. And I was like, oh my God, we're all in trouble. And so that's the only relief that I've received is hyperbaric. But
so, with traumatic brain injuries, there's so really little known, with all the developments in science and medicine and all these things, and they're claiming they understand how, they can map things out and see neurons transmitting and neural pathways and neurotransmitters and all this stuff. They can talk about it, but they don't really have any solutions. I feel like we're still stuck in the days when they were carving out a chunk of your brain just to make you, stop screaming. And, I don't think they really understand a lot more than that. They're still experimenting. They put little shocks here and there, and they put stimuli, and they put probes, and they put things in you, but they really don't, they don't know.
Yeah.
But we do know that the brain consumes a huge amount of energy. You burn more calories from your brain than you do your whole body, unless you're, a professional athlete working out crazy. But most people, just your day-to-day living, your brain cooks up all your juice, and it needs a ton of oxygen. And anything goes wrong in your body, especially inflammation, and inflammation is tied to every problem in your body.
Absolutely.
It blocks everything. It blocks everything. It blocks your lymphatic system from pumping your fluid that helps your immune system work. It blocks your blood from flowing right. It blocks your hormones from passing right. It blocks your oxygen. And what happens when you injure yourself, when you get a concussion? The first thing happens, right? Everything swells.
Yeah.
And so that is the definition of inflammation. So everything's swollen. Now you got all this fluid pushing on everything, trying to protect your brain, because that's what your body's like. Well, send fluid, it'll keep it from happening again. We got to try to protect that gray matter. So your body's kind of doing what it knows how to do, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, so now you're breathing, like normal. Probably you're breathing more shallow than normal, because that's generally what happens when we get injured or ill. We start breathing softer and softer, and that's just, trying to protect ourselves, because it hurts sometimes to take a deep breath or to cough or whatever. But all of a sudden, you're depleting your oxygen. You're not getting what you need, and you don't realize it. And I can't help but wonder, there's got to be some correlation to the lack of oxygen getting to your brain and the symptoms, because you look at it and you go, well, we add one thing.
Yeah.
And then what happens,
Yeah, and for me, like the first time I tried the chamber, I did a 1 hour session. And I just tell you, when I came out of that chamber, I was just so awake and alive. And like I said, I'm not sure, but maybe I wasn't seeing colors, because when I came out of that chamber, everything seemed so beautiful. Just the sky, man. And I always tell people, it's like, it feels like I was walking around in 3D. Like, and I didn't know that I had already shut down that much. There was so much in life I had been missing.
Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
I can tell you almost for sure you were seeing black and white or barely colors, because I know and I had a traumatic brain injury. I was in a coma for a couple of days, not as long as you, but when I came out of it, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know anything. And slowly everything came back. But
wow,
I lost my sense of taste and smell for 10 years. And everything tasted like cardboard, and I couldn't smell anything. And over time, my brain sort of rewired itself and kind of made fake tastes. But like you could hand me an apple pie made out of onions or liver, and if it looked like apples and felt like apples, I would taste some semblance of apples.
Yeah.
And then I'd look at it and go, ugh, but it wasn't real. And most everything just didn't taste like anything. And then one day I got really sick. I had a fever like crazy. I had hallucinating fever. And I woke up a couple of days later or sometime later, and all of a sudden I'm like, what the hell? I smelt myself. I stunk from just sweating for 2 days or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, that's for real. Like that was a real thing, kind of like what you're talking about. Now, I don't know what happened to my brain, but I know that somehow something reconnected. And since that time, everything, like you said, it's like in 3D, like taste became completely different. Like I drank a little bit of milk and it was like, oh,
Wow.
like unbelievable. Smelt the soil and you're just like, it came to life. It was just incredible. So I can understand what you're talking about. And it really is a wake-up call though, because it tells you this was for real. Like I was damaged. I'm not seeing things right. It's not working.
For me, I still, after all the red flags, all the stuff I was going through, I still couldn't connect those dots.
Yeah.
Like I was still thinking it's got to be diabetes because what I learned is I was treating the symptoms as they showed up.
Right.
Like there was time where I got to the point where I couldn't focus. I said, well, maybe I got adult ADHD. So I started going to doctors, trying to figure that out. Next,
right.
every symptom that showed up, I'm going to the doctors. And I always say they check my blood, never check that brain.
Right.
And so, but we know now, even with CTE, even if they had checked my brain, they wouldn't have found that.
Right.
They only diagnosed that at death. So.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing that's crazy. It's like, and doctors are good at analyzing symptoms, right? They got their playbook. They got all the collective knowledge from everything. So they just go in and go, oh, well, you have this symptom. It's most likely these things. And we're going to treat it according to our standard of care. And so, you're going at it was logical. It was actually, you stub your toe, you go and look at your toe. You're not looking at your brain,
Yeah.
And so it made sense what you did, but it didn't help.
Well, even when I found help, and I remember talking to my primary doctor about it. I said, "Yeah, I've been using this hyperbaric, and it's woke me up. I'm feeling better."
Yeah.
And he tried to talk me out of using it. He's like, "Oh, those things could be dangerous," and they give me all the different reasons why I shouldn't be using it. But
Wow.
I said, but what he didn't realize, like his office was only about a mile from my apartment.
Yeah.
And I would get lost just walking there. Like no, it was worth the risk for me.
Yeah,
With
yeah.
all the side effects that's out there about this thing, it was worth the risk.
You know what's so crazy is a doctor will prescribe you a drug that has known side effects that are likely to give you horrible problems, and
Yeah.
he's okay with that risk.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
hyperbaric chamber, which maybe occasionally somebody pops an eardrum or whatever. I mean, I don't know what things happen, but you could be susceptible to any problem, and you can have a problem drinking water, whatever. And
Yeah.
then they get a key on that and say, "Oh no, that's too dangerous. We don't know enough about it."
Right. Well, I really think it's because, and I fell into the same trap. Like I remember when I first started finding this stuff and people kept saying, oh, it's because, big pharma doesn't want to pay for it and insurance companies don't want to, you know, and I was like, whatever, maybe this thing's not real, And so when I actually tried it and it worked, I
Right.
was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, why come they're not sending people through this? Why are people struggling with this thing? And then I guess people were right. Like it's really one of the things that they won't pay for,
Yeah.
and so there's a lot of truth
It's
to it.
expensive right now. I think the technology is going to get a lot cheaper as more people understand it and more companies are coming in and building quality units. But
Yeah.
until that
It's
happens,
already getting cheaper. Like when I bought like around COVID, a little bit before 2022 is when I started finding it and started trying
yeah,
to shop. You couldn't find a chamber for under 20 something thousand.
right.
Now,
That's when I was looking right
yeah,
about that time. I came close to buying one. I didn't quite pull the trigger on it, but um, I went and got a sauna and some other stuff instead. But the point was that was you couldn't find one for, you might find a used one for 10 grand and you
yeah,
don't know what condition that's in or where it's been or what it's done. So you have
yeah,
no warranty, no manufacturer, anything. So yeah, it was
yeah,
20 to 100,000. I mean, it just,
yeah.
there's no limit at how high they go.
Yeah, that's the truth. Like, well, that's the reason why I want to open up this CTE Wellness Center. It's because it's so expensive. People aren't even if they find out. Like myself, I tried it twice,
Right,
and it removed my cloudiness. But then I knew I couldn't afford this thing now,
right,
and so I had to make some life decisions. Like, am I going to, pay rent, or am I
right,
going to put my? Because if I don't pay rent, I'm gonna have to not pay rent for quite a few months to save up that
right.
money. Where I'm going to live during that time, So there was a lot of
That's a
scary. Yeah,
powerful, like you've been through some challenges that so few people go through. I mean, to be faced with, you know, I don't want to live and having to come, because of the suffering you were going through and putting your relationships through and all the trauma that was going through that, you were just like literally asking God to take you. Like that doesn't happen unless you're going through the worst of the worst. And then to be faced with, I've got an answer, but I have to choose between like everything or this. Like,
yeah,
man, that's some heavy stuff.
yeah. I have a TikTok channel. One man with a chamber. I have so many people coming there and they just asking for help. How did I do it? How did it bounce back? You know, and the thing of it is, it's like once you tell them how much those things cost,
Right.
they're so excited until they
Yeah.
figure out how much it costs.
Yeah.
And that's just for paying for the treatment. Like here in
Right.
LA, just
Yeah.
like
Just a
$200.
session's $100. Yeah,
Yeah, a
exactly.
couple of bucks. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's just to sit in this thing for an hour.
yeah,
And you're like, whoa, like I could do that once or twice as a special treat, but
yeah,
not a lot of people have expendable income that says, well, that's part of my weekly regimen or my, twice a month or whatever, however often you need it. You might need it 3 times a week for a while to get yourself
yeah.
cleared out.
I started with five
There you
per week.
go. Yeah.
And I didn't actually. I started doing better when I got to the point where I was doing 2 a day.
Okay.
Then it was like, whoa. And then, I was going through, like for example, I was going through some progressions, learning as I was going.
All right.
There wasn't a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
So my machine came with an oxygen concentrator, so
Huh?
you can run that cord right into the machine. You can let it pour into the thing.
All right.
I got much better results when I connected a hose to that thing and used the mask.
Oh,
So as I started to use
when
that
I did it,
mask,
I had a mask on. And
yeah,
I think they have different ways they do it, but I was wearing a mask when I went into it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they pressurized with oxygen too, but I had oxygen going. I was breathing it straight in too.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to a place probably about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
They had one of those big chambers you can put 4 people in. So I
Oh
went to just
wow.
go try it out. Actually, right in the middle of Hollywood. I think it's called O2 something
All
O2.
right.
I really should know that one because they actually let me try it out.
Right.
But I have one of their links
Okay.
attached to one of my videos or something. But
Yeah,
yeah, when
yeah.
I just tried it out and like they're not running oxygen to people. And I noticed most places that
Wow.
have those, they're not running the oxygen, but they're also doing 2.0 oxygen instead of
Okay, got it.
1 point. So maybe, but I guarantee if they use that oxygen with that higher pressure,
Yeah.
it should be a much better result for people.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, and for people who are not aware of how the body works, oxygen's this amazing thing. Like it is your primary fuel source for your cells, and
Yeah.
it delivers everything. And it's actually very harmful to the bad cells. Like if you got
Yeah. Yeah.
cancer, if you got disease, those cells that are growing in you wrong, they don't like oxygen, and
Yeah.
oxygen
Yeah.
literally tears them apart. It oxidizes them, and then your healthy cells eat it up like grapes. I mean, it's just like the best thing ever, and it feeds your mitochondria. It creates this ATP, all of your cellular fuel. It Without oxygen, you just don't have that stuff, and with it, you get this tremendous boost of everything. It's like crazy, and your body can adapt. Like, people go up to high altitudes to train so that the air's thinner and your body
I
sort of
used to do that.
gets used to less oxygen, right? And
Yeah.
so your blood changes and it's able to process what it has better. Then you come down here and it gobbles it up. It's able to
Yeah.
process more oxygen than the guy that's training down here. So, your body's really good at processing these things. And yet, again, nobody talks about it. It's just
I did some reading about that, and like I was trying to figure this thing out
okay.
before I even tried it, and I all those things you telling me, I've heard it all, and I was
Right.
like, I said, okay, this got to be the biggest conspiracy in the world. How could this thing be here and it's doing all this miraculous stuff?
Right.
And so when I went to try, I still didn't believe it was going to work. I was like,
Right.
and I just got. Matter of fact, I found that video about 2-3 weeks ago that I made a recording in there for the first time. And
Okay.
it's so grim and dark. It's like, this is my
Wow.
last thing. There's nothing
Wow.
else. If this don't work, I
Yikes.
don't know if it was so dark to hear it. But that's where I was at for
Yeah.
such a
Yeah.
long time. So yeah, I went down that same rabbit hole. I didn't believe it until I got that machine. And then, man, it changed my life. Even matter of fact, if you look at all my old pictures, I had the same haircut you rock right now. I had that same
Yeah.
haircut.
I hear you.
And then as my hair was started to grow, I was using that machine.
Yeah.
Like if you look on some of my social media stuff, you see people making comments like, "Is he wearing a wig?" Like the
Yeah, you
biggest
got a
compliment I ever got in my life.
fine head of hair there.
Yeah,
I used to have one of those. I'll have it again once I'm done with all these treatments, but it's
yeah.
I'm sure that O2 makes a difference too. I mean,
It's
it
doing
helps
everything. Yeah.
everything work better. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Did we talk about the non PG-13 part of my treatment? Did we
A
did
little
we,
bit. Yeah.
did we
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about what happened with the
Yeah. Yeah. You woke up and you had a long-lasting erection going on for a
yes,
while.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And that's, I mean, again, that's a sign of your body's working. Like
yeah,
that's
yeah,
the first thing that goes when you lose energy. Your body's like, well, you don't need that anymore. And
yeah,
it just takes it from you. And when that comes to you, that's the 13-year-old strong boy's
yeah,
first response. Boom, you got that
yeah.
day long. And it's because you're healthy, you're growing, you got vigorous energy. You got it all going on at that point.
Yeah, and that was the first time. First time I used it. That all that stuff happened at once.
That's
Yeah,
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
yeah.
Now, I'd like to hear a little bit about your diet as that's been connected to this, because diet's such a big part of health, and it affects everything, and including your brain, but it also affects how your body processes oxygen. And as an athlete, I know you
Yeah.
must have you must, be very aware of your diet and all of these things. And then I remember you talking in the last conversation how, you weren't eating good, or you were eating some like not it didn't sound like it was a healthy. Why don't you walk us through that a little
Well,
bit?
I always ate pretty healthy, but
Oh,
what I
okay.
what I started to do was, I guess I thought this was diabetes or something because
Right.
it was cloudy, no energy, couldn't get out of the bed.
Yeah.
So on my nightstand next to the bed, I always put a thermos of coffee or Coca Cola,
That's what it was. The
stuff like that.
Coca-Cola. I remember
Yeah,
now. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Which is like the worst thing you could put in your body.
yeah. It began to cause me more medical issues that I
Oh
didn't have
yeah.
in the first place. Like I wound up having too much acid in my stomach at some point.
Sure.
So yeah, but that was the only thing that was keeping me going. Like I couldn't survive without it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
there was I would was will not get out of that bed before 3 o'clock if I didn't have that sitting there. I would
Wow.
just be laying there. And that's why I really thought this thing was, diabetes, because it looks just like I've
Right.
seen so many
It makes sense.
diabetics.
Yeah, you got a sugar problem somehow, and
Yeah,
it's not processing, or it's not doing it right. And
yeah,
other than that, though, your diet's generally a good, healthy diet.
yeah. I was always a really any of my old babysitters and nannies who listening to this, I apologize right now. I was always a really picky eater,
All right.
and as I got older, it and I didn't realize I was like this as a kid, right?
Right.
Like I had a nanny who would we call them babysitters back then. Like she would pick me up after the kindergarten. I go over her house, and
Okay.
so she would make me this sandwich. Right, it'd be like a hamburger on the
Yeah.
bread. She would
Uh-huh.
diagonally cut it. So now it's a
Uh-huh.
triangle, and she
Sure.
would put a little ketchup drop like right on top, make it look like a chocolate chip drop.
All right.
Right now, if I took too long to get to that table, it had melted or something, right? Or
Right. Right.
if it didn't look right, if it wasn't perfect,
Oh boy.
she knew I wasn't gonna eat that sandwich. She had to
Oh wow.
go, and I had to watch her make me a whole other sandwich, hamburger in
Wow.
the skillet. It had to go, well, none of that. I'm gonna trick him and put no. Yeah. So I've always been a finicky eater. I remember even being on tour racing World Cup,
Uh-huh.
and I automatically go to the chefs in the kitchen because the hotels cooked our meals for us, and I say, just give me a chicken, a piece of protein, chicken and salad, because in Europe there was a lot of mad cow stuff going on over there.
Sure.
So I didn't want the beef. I didn't eat any pork. And so, so all my teammates was like, oh, the guy he's so arrogant or bougie or something. Like, look at him. But I tell you what,
Even, huh?
but by that third day in Italy, when they gave them pasta for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it was
Yeah.
like, can we have what he has?
Right.
So yeah, but I was always a real clean eater to this day. Like,
Okay. Well, that's good.
yeah. And so it wasn't I try to add things to the diet, like the say omegas, fish, like the
Sure.
salmon. But now you're looking at the salmon in the
I
stores, like,
know. Now they're
is it?
making it in a stainless steel kettle. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's food is a whole nother conversation, and I talk a lot about food because it's instrumental in my healing right now, and it's a
yeah.
whole different conversation. But I want to get into your experience with others. You've
Mhm.
taken what you've learned and what you're benefiting, and you've committed yourself to providing this to people in need, and
Yeah,
educating people. You got this TikTok channel, you're out there talking about this, you're and I know the whole court case thing is scary as hell, and we talked about it last
yeah,
time, and I don't know that I want to go too deep into it because we don't know, like, you got some big heavy hitter with the red dot on your forehead, and you don't know who
yeah.
it is or what it is, and it's not good, but you're staying tough, and staying in the fight, which I respect deeply. But as much as that, the fact that you're willing to take your experience and the knowledge that you've gained, and you're working to build. You've got a nonprofit now, and you're raising funds to make available this amazing therapy to people who need it without them having to come up with that $200 a pop, or 20
Yeah,
grand to buy the thing, or maybe it's only 15 grand now, but still, it's like not something most people have in their expendable income to go and to buy,
no, yeah,
and so I'm really not just intrigued, but I'm excited about that, and I know that I have plans on integrating that into our garden therapy that we have here. And one day, it's all about funding. It's all
Yeah.
about finding the people. And that's part of what I want to talk about, it's hard when you're doing all this stuff yourself. Have you built a team of people around you that are helping to bring your message out there? And I mean, you got reach. People know who you are. You got a dynamic personality. You got a crazy story. Like you got all the
Yeah.
ingredients to take this thing anywhere you want to go.
Well, the thing is, like, I really, when this thing, when I first found treatment, I found it during after the court case had started already.
Hmm.
There was no help for me, and see, I was the perfect person to do this because I was dying, man. I
Right.
don't want to be here, and like the, I got to say, I make sure I say this next part right. There were some people who wanted to do a documentary about me, right? So
Okay.
they go to the biggest people in the world. These are the real Hollywood producers.
Sure.
So they went to go pitch this thing to the regular people they pitch it to.
Hmm.
And they found out that there are some really big people fighting this information coming out, some really big people watching me. And I warned them that. I told them, I said, guys, I might be wrong, but I'm not sure. And I could be
Yeah.
just be a little paranoid, but I think my life might be on the line because of what the things that I'm saying right now
Uh,
in this case. And I said, but don't worry about that. I said, and I warned them because I worry about them and their families and their
right, right,
well-being. I said, I don't care what they do to me.
right,
Like they can't, if they take me out right now, they're going to be doing me a favor,
right.
but my message is out here now and it's too late for them to hear what I've been saying,
Exactly.
and that was really the truth of it, guys. Like people make me out to be this hero, guys. No, I had nothing left. And I'm
Right,
watching my teammates. And then when I realized they wouldn't stop, they won't warn a youth. That was the number one thing I requested. Warn a youth before they start.
right.
And I'm like,
Yeah, let's nip this thing before,
yeah,
fix it before it's a problem.
yeah. It's already a problem. The same way they tricked me over there, they tricked all of them the
Right.
same way. They didn't tell me
Exactly.
this was going to happen, but they knew. And I know because one of the employees who worked there told me they couldn't find helmets. They were safe but aerodynamic. That
Wow.
let me know, guess what? These are the wrong people running our Olympic team. We need people in there who's going to look out there for the athlete
Right,
first.
right. Yeah, they
You
want
know,
that extra quarter second, right, more than they worry about you bashing your brain in.
no, that's not what they want. That's not what they want. You know what they really want?
What's that?
People I know now who run the bobsled office were athletes who used to be bobsledders.
Okay.
So as they leave the sport, they get this job and it pays them pretty good salary.
Hmm.
So that most of them probably aren't qualified to do anything else because this is all they've been doing since they were
Okay.
teenagers. And so like for me and every athlete that I know who deal with this issue, we couldn't see it on ourselves, right?
Right.
So they're no different. Even though some of those coaches are really bad off right now, those are the ones people told me, all the athletes, they gave me a list of people who they know who are suffering. And a lot of them still work in that office. So if you have
Okay.
someone with CTE who might not recognize they're dealing with CTE, they're not going to look out for the people around them who's going to get CTE.
Wow.
So they're just like having a person who's actively alcoholic, still
Right.
drinking, and he's trying to mentor the next guy to not drink. Like, no, it
Right.
doesn't work like that. You gotta
Yeah, that's true.
teach and show some healthy things. And so that's mainly what some of the problems are. Is
And
that
so
yeah,
you got kind of a two-phase mission. One is education and bringing
yeah,
awareness of this problem and solution to the table. The problem itself can be mitigated by better equipment, by better practices, but it's not likely to happen because you're dealing with this, archetypal institution of a sport that, like you said, they
yeah.
have to change the whole way the sport is done, and they're not likely to do that.
But it's an easy change. All you do
Yeah,
is
yeah,
remove those turns, remove the extreme turns, and it's
right.
a much different sport.
Yeah, yeah. And it could be done, football, they've changed a lot of rules and they've
Yeah,
done making it safer. They've changed equipment, they've changed a lot of things. And I don't know that it's had the effect that they want yet, and they won't know for a while, but at least they're addressing it on some level. But
yeah,
that's a sport where people are smacking their heads together on purpose. And
yeah.
it's not, everybody knows that that's something that is a thing. Or boxing, I don't know what they could do about boxing. That's the whole sport, is to beat each other.
Right.
So
Did we talk about Leon Spinks?
no.
Oh, he's from my hometown, St. Louis.
Okay.
I happened to be in Las Vegas just right before COVID kicked off.
All right.
Some of my buddies, we all got together and seen each other in years. We met in Vegas. So he's there doing autographs, right?
Okay.
And all he's writing, he has a piece of paper right here. It says Leon Spinks, World Champ, 1978.
Wow.
So he's writing an autograph, right?
Okay.
He's writing it. He's looking at the paper, writing it, look at the paper. He almost had to trace his own autograph.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was just like, it's before I didn't know what was wrong with me. Like, I still think I had diabetes, you know?
Right.
And so when my symptoms really kicked in and my teammate committed suicide, the last one committed suicide, and his autopsy came out, and I connected the dots. Oh, this is what this is. It has a name now. We know what it is.
Right.
I could think about all the times I met people under this condition, like Leon Spinks.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, am I going to be that bad? Is it going to go that far? Because I'm already cloudy every day. Like, I can see the writing on the wall.
Right.
Like, I'm in trouble.
Things don't generally get better on their own.
No, this wasn't. This thing, no, it's never going to get better on its own. This is slowly, it gets a little bit worse. Slowly until they really kick in. And then when them symptoms really start kicking in, you're like, okay. Now that's why people are giving up. Like, if you go lay on that floor or on that couch or stay in that bed, and that's all you can do all day, it's a matter of time before you just kind of give up on life.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've got these heavy hitters sort of putting a dark cloud over you, saying, you know, keep away from this guy. We're watching him, and that scares people off like crazy. Like, you know, it's like having the mob come and send you a little message, you know, get a head of something delivered to your bed. You know, it's like, oh, I got to watch what I'm doing, and why would you go near that guy if he's going to bring you this? And you know, people don't have the heart to jump into a fight when they should sometimes. And so, how are you seeing yourself get through this? You know, I mean, this is one way. We just keep talking.
I'm gonna keep talking,
and that's where I'm at. That's one of the reasons that I want to, you know, help you any way I can. Is this is a powerful message. People need to hear this. We can make a difference in the world. I don't have the reach or the you know, the tools yet, but I'm working on it. We're growing all the time.
Yeah.
And you know, over time, maybe I'll be a better ally, you know, in that venue. But meanwhile, you know, you got a lot going on and a lot of potential to quickly, you know, put this legacy in front of you, and regardless of whatever happened or didn't happen to you, because you don't know, you know, I mean, who knows? Maybe something terrible happens, or maybe they go away and give up, and you go on to prosper. I mean, you know, it could go any which way. We don't know. But meanwhile, you're building something that can live on long beyond you, and do this. So what's it look like?
Well, I already have the building that I want to use. I'm trying to recycle what I can get to easy.
Yeah.
My dad, he has this building. He just retired a few years ago.
Okay.
And he hit a successful roofing company. So that building's sitting empty. He's about to sell it. And I'm like, wait a minute, Dad. Before you sell this building, let me see if I can figure some things out.
All right.
So I'm ready to get that building for, you know, peanuts, you know, like not much money. And like if I open here in LA, the same size building, it's going to cost me probably $15,000-$20,000 for a building that size.
Oh yeah.
And that means for where I can purchase that building and build it out, that's like a year of rent here.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the reason why I want to do it there.
This is in the Midwest you're talking about.
Yep, St. Louis, right in the middle of the United States, center spot.
I love it. You know, it's wild. It's like people have no idea. If you spend your time living in California, you don't realize what it's like in other places. Like gasoline's $2 a gallon.
Yeah.
And you know, rents are less than $1,000 a month for a little house, even sometimes. You know, I mean, it's like, it's unbelievable. Like I know people all around the country, and it's like they tell me about what they're paying to just live in a little suburban town in Kansas or Arkansas or wherever, and you're just like, what? You know, how I can't pay for my basic utilities for that, and you're living. And so, it's amazing what you can do. And in this world right now, if you're able to build this thing, there's going to be people in that sphere of influence that'll benefit enough that'll take this thing to the next level where you'll be able to put up another one in another spot. There's two phases to this. One's the education part, which will grow as you're doing more things. You're going to be building more educational content and have more awareness. Your light shines brighter, the channel
Yeah.
tunes easier, all of those things. But the actual footprint of touching people, that's the part that you got to get established. And I think you're on the right path. So what's your timeline looking like for that?
Well, we kind of did things a little bit backwards. Well, I did. I set the crowdfunding up, released it way before it was time to start promoting it.
Okay.
And I did that because actually I originally set this up 2 years ago. And my lawyers, they told me, hey, say, don't do the press release. They said, these doctors are going to come and they're going to help you guys. He said, so don't do it right now. We're about to settle this case and the doctors are coming. They're going to save you. Don't worry.
Okay.
So fast forward, we get to the point, the case is about to end. They present me this offer. The offer says 0 treatment, no treatment. They only want to evaluate us. And I'm thinking, I said, guys, you made me wait 2 years
Yeah.
to help other people because you said these doctors were coming, but now you're saying no doctors are coming.
Right.
And they said, well, we always told you no doctors were coming. It's only about medical evaluation. So matter of fact, at the last court hearing, I went in our email and I pulled out an email they sent me. And this thing said medical monitoring and care for life.
Ah,
And I showed it to the judge. I said, Your Honor, look at this offer.
right.
There is no care in here at all.
Right.
And I asked the judge, I said, Your Honor, would you send your child to a doctor that won't help him? Like,
Right.
what would be the point of that?
Yeah.
And so the judge told me, he was like, well, he said, at the end of the day, when the offers come through, he's going to have to look at it as well. Because they're trying to bully the hell out of me, just to be blunt with it. They're trying to bully me to settle this. So, and to be honest, my law team is now standing tight with defense lawyers. They're together.
That's what you told me. Yeah, the last episode, that was stuff. Yeah.
So the judge said at the end of the day, he's going to have to look at it and see if it's a fair offer for the class. So, I even though I'm still alone, I don't feel quite as alone. But I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing. Your Honor, this is not a good deal. I'm not voting. And I told him, if you want to, you can end this case, but like, I'm going to stand firm on what I believe. When the courts are going to do what the courts are going to do. But the scary part is I'm not qualified to be here standing. Like, they got some of the most expensive lawyers in the world right now.
Yeah. I mean, you had David Shapiro walk away from you. So, I mean, that's like, geez Louise, like, what do you do? Well, listen, William, we did it again. We burned up more time than I generally allot. And I actually have another interview coming up in like 10 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm always around. You can always find me.
Yeah. But you know what I really want to do is, as this thing progresses, I would love to have you. I have guests that come on regularly and we share a story that's evolving. And I'd love for you to join that, that legion. I think that this is an important story that I want to carry on and help you in any way that I can. And this is one thing I can offer is, the ability to share updates. So anytime you see that there's an update or something you want to
it's coming
add to and share, please reach out. Again, we don't live more than an hour and a bit away from each other. I'd love to show you my garden and some of the stuff we're doing. And I'd love to meet you in person for sure.
Yeah, we'll have to make that happen.
Excellent. All right. Yeah. Well, William,
find my crowdfunding, guys. We need you. I can't do it without you.
Tell everybody how to find your crowdfunding and your TikTok channel. Give us all that again.
It's all one man with a chamber. One man with a chamber. Guys, please read between the lines, guys. I was in dementia. How many of our loved ones were there and came back from there? I came back from there, and it came from the chamber. It wasn't what I went there for, but that's what it did. So do the research. It's out there for Alzheimer's, for dementia. There's treatments with hyperbaric as well. So, and I'm a walking testimonial to it.
Powerful,
Yeah.
powerful. Well, again, I have deep respect for you, your integrity, your courage, and just, living it, walking the walk. It's hard to find folks that are willing to do that, and I stand with you.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
And I look forward to having you back again. This has
Thank
been
you.
another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and we really want to thank all the listeners that make this possible and take some time, look into these guests and see the good work that they're doing. And we will see you next time. This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.